Over at C9, I'm very close to Blobber is like number one, and then pretty much all my teammates I get along with. The environment's good and everyone wants to be friends with each other. I'm Zeyzal. I play support for Cloud9. As of last year, I was promoted to the LCS support spot. So I have 8 siblings, 2 adopted as well. My siblings, I think, impacted a lot, especially my 2 older brothers and my older sister even. They all played games before me, and I remember I was playing games before I could even read, so it's like I had to have them read sentences for me so I could progress on games all the time. My name, Zeyzal, came from my 2 older brothers played RuneScape, and they both had matching names. One was Zeyzal, the other was Zayzel. So I ended up just stealing one of my brother's accounts because I wasn't good enough to level mine. Pretty much as soon as I was 3 or 4, I was playing computer, and before I was younger, I was probably watching my brothers play. We had a huge drawer full of Nintendo 64 games, at least 50, 60 of them. I grew up in Shelby, Ohio, which is a very small town. It was 8,000, 9,000 when I was younger. Growing up, I had a lot of friends on my street, so I was pretty fortunate in that. And I remember I was super tan, always outside, and I would play games, but we'd all play together because there was like 2 main houses we would stay at with like 10 plus people at a time. Both my brothers and myself, and then 2 of our friends. In season 2, we would play tournaments together. We weren't very good, but we would win. I was top, my oldest brother Tim was support, and Colton was mid. You just got riot points for winning, so it wasn't a big tournament or anything, but it was a lot of fun playing with them. I was fortunate that it was like a small family town where it's a lot of farmland and most people just spend time with each other because there's not much to do. I didn't really want to go pro at first. My brothers like constantly pushed me for it, so I started with Demonte on a team called Serpentis. I was actually a top laner at the time, but joined as a support because they needed a support. About 3 months later, Cloud9 Challengers B team, so not Cloud9 Challenger, but the B team, they had Maple Street, Bobchin, Rowhammers, and Morning. About 3 months later, I got to build my own Cloud9 Challenger B team with Grignay, Demonte, Licorice, and Deathly. Funny enough, all 5 are now in the LCS, so that was our roster was technically 5 LCS players. Who would have known? We would have weeks we would just go undefeated in scrims, and that was my favorite team so far. I think just the personality of everyone got along super well with that team. Like, we're still all friends. That was the team I loved. That was my team. And then after that, I was sold to EUnited from Cloud9. So I ended up graduating from high school while on EUnited. My graduating class was like 78 people. Second split of EUnited, at the end, we lost relegations and we weren't a very strong team. And everyone was quick to blame each other. There was a lot of blame being shifted, but I wasn't willing to like blame anyone. We weren't really a team at that point. I don't know, it felt very hard to be part of that team. I would say that the experience was important for moving on. So at the time, I tried to join an LCS team. I talked with 2 of them only. I think I had pretty much 9 out of the 10 academy teams trying to get me on the academy team. So I was pretty picky about who I was willing to join for various reasons, and Kami again kept like messaging me like every day like, we really want you on Cloud9 and here's what we've got so far. I was told Golden Glue and Wiggly, and I was really good friends with Wiggly. I pretty much just went off that. At the time, Keith was also messaging me, so I like heavily encouraged them to get Keith, and Golden Glue was doing the same thing. I didn't know, and we're all still friends even after that team had to move on. It was about 6 months till I went to the LCS team. The main pressure started, I think, for me when I replaced Smoothie. It wasn't actually the pressure of going to Worlds or playing in LCS. It was more I was replacing a very good player. So the first expectation I had was that I had to be better than Smoothie. That was hard for me to adjust to. It took a while, probably till week 6 before I felt I was good enough to actually deserve a spot even in LCS, and it was a long road and it was a lot of self-doubt. For me, I always work on how I communicate for players. When we started doing the shift to be aggressive, I was the first person to be aggressive, heavily like Blabber inspired. Like Blabber's very aggressive in comms and in play, so it was like trying to mirror that in comms. I think it was the third day of groups for us. We beat every team except RNG. We only went 1-1 against them. I think that was the high point of my career. I think everyone going into that day was pretty sure we were going to be going home. We'll make it to the I didn't expect to go this far in World. Semifinals is great. First time in 7 years! Cloud9 in the top! Well, the number one goal is always to win Worlds, but this year, I'm hoping we as a team can win Cloud9 both Blitz. I think the two people I'd be most thankful for would be both my brothers, Colton and Tim, and having, I guess, the faith in me to be able to do it, and it looks like they were right, so